Hello, Scary with Southern Sass Vinyl. Today we're going to be talking about flushing your printhead. Okay, so here are the items that you're going to need. You're going to need printhead cleaner. I have mine in a cup. You're also going to need a syringe with a piece of tubing on the end. Okay. And then you're going to need something, some type of bottle or cup or something that you can put the fluid that you flush into. I just use this, and then when I'm done with it, I'll pour it out and flush it so that it doesn't get mixed up. Okay, so for my printhead, hang on, let me get a paper towel. Alright, so I'm just got a little piece of paper towel. I'm going to set this over here. And I'm going to get some cleaning fluid. I'm going to set it, get that all wet. Okay. And I'm going to take this out of my little cup thing so I can show y'all. Alright, so this is what I use. So this printhead has actually been sitting and soaking for 24 hours. I have a clog in my magenta. So you can see that it is slowly starting to work its way out. So what I do is this is just a plastic cup, just like what I have my solution in, and I just cut the bottom off. And then it fits perfect. I'm going to try to show this without spilling stuff everywhere. Okay, if you look at it, it fits perfectly right down in there. Okay? Because what you want to make sure is that your connectors are not in the solution. So this works perfect. The head fits perfectly in there. Okay, take that back out. And so then what I do is I just get a piece of paper towel, fold it up in there, and that way I make absolutely sure, and then I fill this up with cleaning solution. And I make absolutely sure that, of course, nothing is spilling over or anything like that. Okay, and then the head will actually rest on this paper towel, and that paper towel kind of acts like a wick, and it'll actually wick it all out. Alright, so we're going to clean this because this is what it's been sitting on all night, and you can see all this blue ink, which is the problem that we're having with this printhead. Okay, so I'm going to dump that out, and I'm going to clean it really, really well with the paper towel, because I want to make sure that I get all the ink and stuff that's in this little cup out. You don't want to suck it right back into your printhead. Okay? Alright. So the next thing you're going to do, and you're going to notice that I have a piece of paper towel over my nozzles. And that just helps clean your nozzles. You can see how that's all the ink and stuff that was on them. And that's just going to keep your nozzles all nice and damp. And it's going to help clean everything off. If you've watched my cleaning videos, then you already know that this is what I put on it every evening after printing to help clean around these nozzles. And you can see how clean the nozzles are. And you can see how much ink was actually on them. Basically, the paper towel just kind of acts like a sponge, and it just soaks that ink right off of there. Okay? I'm going to throw that away. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this back into my little cup. Okay, and I'm going to use a syringe with a needle tip, because what I want to do is I want to slide it right in here, and I just want to cover the bottom of the printhead. Try not to get bubbles or anything like that in it, because you're going to be sucking this up through the printhead. And if you'll look, I'm going to move you just slightly. If you look right here, and if you look down, you can just see that it's just covering the printhead, the bottom of the printhead. Okay, just set back up. Alright. Alright, so now you want to take Now you want to make absolutely sure that you set your clean solution off to the side somewhere so that you don't accidentally pick it up. Because I have done this before where was flushing the printhead, and instead of sticking it in my trash, I accidentally stuck it right back into the cup with the clean solution in it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do all of our nozzles just because it doesn't hurt anything. We're going to start over here. You may have to pick it up, and you're going to slide the tubing over this nozzle. Okay, set it back in the solution, and then you're going to gently pull back. You never push, you always pull. And you're going to start getting solution, hopefully. And just go nice and slow. You can see that solution kind of coming up. Okay. You're not going to get an insane amount of solution. This isn't going to be like where you fill it up and you squirt it out. So that's the solution that came into the nozzle, or came into the syringe, sorry. And I'm going to just put that into my trash bottle, because again, I do not want to accidentally mix it. I'm going to add a little bit more clean solution to this, because you want to make absolutely sure you're not sucking any air. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go to the second one. Again, pick it up, hold it by the side, and then slide that syringe onto it. And we're going to do the same thing where we're just going to pull back very, very gently until you start seeing solution come into your nozzle. I meant your syringe. Sorry. Okay. So again, there's the solution that went into the... And if you didn't get a lot of solution that time, you can always go back and redo it. Put it right back on, set it back down in the solution again, and just gently pull back. So again, there's the solution from that nozzle, and I'm just going to stick it into my trash. And always keep a close eye, because you never want your cup to run out of solution. You always want to make sure that it is filled up so that your head is always in the solution and always pulling up solution and not sucking up air. Air is bad. Alright, and so we're going to continue this all the way down, and we're going to do this on every single one of these, just to make absolutely sure. Even though the only one that we were having an issue with was magenta, we're going to go ahead and do this on every single nozzle, because it doesn't hurt anything, and all it's going to do is, if there is anything in these nozzles, it's going to go ahead and pull them out. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to prevent anything, any dried ink or anything that has went into these tiny little holes in your manifold. You're trying to prevent shoving them down in further into your printhead, which has a potential of severely damaging your printhead. So you just want to do, like I said, suck motion and never a push. You never want to push solution through manually. You always just want to pull it through. Okay. And remember to go nice and slow. That one right there, I actually got quite a bit of solution, so I know for 100% sure that one's not clogged. Alright, I'm going to check it. Add a little bit more solution if needed. And at this point, your print head should be, the reason why you soak it is to go ahead and get all that ink out, so that the solution that's in this, the bottom of this little piece of cup, bowl, whatever you're using, is clean and you're not picking up ink out of it. Just go nice and slow. And kind of inspect it while it's in your syringe. I know you can't see it very well in here, but when I sucked on that one, this is the black. You can actually see a lot of black ink in there that was still in there. So we're going to go ahead and do that nozzle again, because I want the solution to be clean. See it better that way. I think you can. You can see how dark that solution is. So we're just going to slide it back on, set it back in our cup, and gently suck again. And you're going to just go nice and slow. Okay, so if you look at that, the solution is nice and clean. Let's see if I can tilt it. Much better than what I got a while ago. And you're always, of course, looking for any type of dried ink or anything that you may be sucking out, because that's specifically kind of what we're looking for, especially with this particular print head that we know we have a clog in. Okay. So this is the yellow. And again, we're just going to pull back nice and slow. Don't get in a rush with this. Okay. So nice solution. It looks nice and clear. So I want to go ahead and do this white channel, which is right here next to this, I'm sorry, the magenta. I said white, but it's magenta. I want to go ahead and do that one more time. Even though when I was doing, I wasn't having any issues with the magenta. Okay, it's coming out clean. I may have just pulled back too fast a while ago. But if you look at it now, I've got plenty of solution. Alright, so now we're going to do this a couple of times. We've done all of the nozzles. The solution is in all of them. We're going to refill the bottom of this cup, and we're going to kind of start on our problem child, which is this cyan, which for some reason, for me, it's always cyan. I almost never have an issue with white. For me, it's always cyan, and then magenta, yellow. I'm sorry, cyan, magenta, yellow, then my white, and black is the least that I have issues with. I'm not sure why. You would think that it would always be the white, but for me, it's not. For some reason, I always have an issue with magenta. So we're just going to keep doing this a couple of times until we start getting good flow. Once you start getting really good flow, there's a good chance you've worked that clog back out. And as you can see, I got plenty of solution that time versus the first time that I did it, where I barely got any solution at all. Let's see. And like I said, we're always going to, even though technically your head should be totally flushed and cleaned and ready, in this case we're just not going to take any chances. We're just going to go ahead and put that cleaner into the trash. Alright, so I'm going to do this about 3 times because I just want to make absolutely sure that I've got everything out of it. And you pull back nice and slow. And you'll hear it sometimes when you take the syringe off, you'll hear it kind of make a suction noise, and that's totally fine. And as you can see, once again, we've got plenty of solution in there. We're not getting, I'm not really seeing anything as far as dried ink, but the particles could be so tiny that you can't really see them with your eye. Alright, so we're just going to do this one last time. Okay, so that time I barely got any solution out of it. So, first thing I'm going to do is make absolutely sure I've got plenty of solution in my cup, which I could see it, so I know that I do, but I'm going to go ahead and add some. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this one more time. Because either I'm just now getting, I didn't have that pushed on there all the way, or I'm just now actually getting to what was clogging it. And this time solution's barely trickling through again. So I think we're at I don't know if you can see that, but there's a tiny little piece of dried ink right there. I'm not sure if if I tilt it to the side, then everything goes to the bottom and you can't see through the syringe. So I'm trying to keep it tilted up. But, oop, I lost it. Right there. So there's this tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of dried ink right there. So I don't know if that came from the manifold or if it came from inside the printhead. So we're just going to keep doing this until we consistently are getting a steady syringe full of solution, and we're not having any pullback or anything like that. You can see, like this time right here, I've got no solution at all coming through. And that happens. So, more solution into the bottom of this cup. And guys, you're gonna have to be super, super patient. This is not a quick fix, okay? I've actually had this printhead soaking off and on for 3 days, trying to work this clog out of this cyan. You know, and it's just one of those things where sometimes you're successful and sometimes you're not. I don't give up easy. I had another printhead that I put into the L1800, so it's printing right now, doing its thing while I work on this printhead. So a good lesson is to always make sure you have an extra on hand along with extra dampers. Before you assume that you have a clog, always assume your dampers are bad, because those will go out way before your printhead will. Okay, on average, I replace my dampers. Now remember, I print a lot, but on average, I replace my dampers like once a month. My printheads, I usually end up replacing about every 3 to 4 months. But again, I'm printing thousands of transfers. Okay. So what is going to be for you, it's just kind of going to depend on how well you're taking care of your machine, and how many prints you're doing. Everybody knows that white ink is a printhead killer. it is horrible on the print heads, and 9 times out of 10 when you have an issue, it's gonna be from your white ink, unless you're me. And in my case, for some reason, it's always magenta. I'm sorry, always cyan. I don't know what the deal is with cyan, why the cyan ink hates me so much, but it does. Okay, so I'm starting to get solution in it again. So we're just going to hold this. We're going to hold pressure on it. I don't know, I'm not sure if you can see down here at the bottom, or at the top, whatever you want to call it. You can kind of see it trickling in. And so all I'm doing is I'm holding to make sure that I keep pressure, because sometimes if you let the plunger go and there's suction on this, all you're going to do is turn around and shove whatever you just tried to suck out right back in. So you always want to make sure that you're holding your plunger until there's no more pressure on it, and then you can let it go. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to, I've got my phone hovering directly over, so I'm trying to keep everything in frame and still be able to work here. And again, remember to always pull back slow. Now it looks like we have solution flowing again good. Try to make sure that you keep the piece of tubing straight. You don't want to push on it and kind of bend it. Okay, so we're going to just wait until you quit seeing it pull through. Make sure there's no pressure on it. And as you can see, oh no, you can't see, so let me take that off. So we're back to getting fluid in our tube, which is good. That's what we want. We're like I said, we're working really hard on getting this cyan flushed out. I feel like I'm making progress. When I first started doing this 3 days ago, I was not getting anything. In fact, I could barely suck solution through it at all. That's how clogged it was. So I am making progress with it. It's just slow and steady. You know, at any time you can stop and just let it soak for a couple hours, come back to it, work on it, then let it soak for a couple of hours, come back, work on it, and just until it's got everything worked out. But as you can see, we are getting solution again, which is good. So I'm hoping that little piece of dried ink was what was causing all of my troubles. As you can see, our syringe is getting quite a bit of solution in it now. And again, I'm just going to keep doing this until I feel pretty confident that I've gotten it out. I usually like to do at least 3 or 4 syringe pulls where I don't get any resistance and where I'm getting good solution every single time. Make sure your hose is on there nice and tight. And again, make sure it's up and you're not trying to do it like this where it's all bent over. You want is the least amount of resistance that you can. And again, just pull back nice and slow. Alright, so that one we just barely got any solution. Oops, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't in frame. Hopefully I haven't been doing that this whole time. So we didn't get nearly as much solution into the syringe that time as what we got the last 2 times. But we're not going to panic because we did still get solution into it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, instead of making this video even longer, I'm just going to go ahead and end it here and just let y'all know, you know, you just got to be patient with this. It's not a quick fix to try to get an ink clog out of your printhead. You know, and you may need to use a couple of different types of solutions. They have all different kinds, from really powerful to really weak. I like to use like a medium strength every day. Specifically, I use the DTG Pro concentrate, and I mix it up myself. And the way that I kind of do it is I actually believe that the directions are it's 1 to 8 solution to cleaner to distilled water, and it makes 8 gallons total. And so how I have mine is I actually have 2 2-liter bottles. Two 1-liter bottles, and then I have a small, like I think it's an 8-ounce bottle. And so what I do is I actually mix I mix 1 1-liter bottle to the directions, 1 part cleaner to 8 parts distilled water, and that is my general everyday cleaner. Okay, and then I also mix one where it is 2 parts cleaner to 8-part water. And so basically that's a stronger cleaner. It's more concentrated, and that's kind of what I use to do when I'm having clogs and stuff like this. Something else that you can do if you're not having an issue with clogs and all you're trying to do is really flush your printer, you can actually go ahead and do a 1 to 10 part. 1 part cleaner to like 10 parts water. So if you use, 6 ounces of cleaner, then you're going to turn around and use 60 ounces of water. And I've had great success with that. The distilled water is really, really good. It's not something that's going to destroy your machine. It's clean, and so you can kind of adjust your ratios based on how you need it. This is just my preference. You need to do what you feel is right for your printer, but I can just tell you what has worked for me. So for the stronger cleaner, I do basically a 1 to 4 ratio. And then for kind of an everyday cleaner, I do the directions say 1 to 8. And then for whenever I'm just wanting to flush my printer, if I know that I'm not going to be using it for a couple of days, I'll go ahead and I'll use a 1 to 10 part cleaner to distilled water ratio, and that way I'm not wasting quite as much cleaner, but it's enough, it's strong enough to get the job done. And so to me, that's a very light cleaner, and that's the 1 to 10. So like I said, you just need to figure out what works for you, what works for your situation, and go from there. I can only tell you what works for me. You'll have to figure out what works best for you, your printer, and your printing conditions. All right. So as always, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.